Inconceivable!
Hi guys, and welcome back to Inconceivable, your 2020 online virtual convention. This is the last panel of the day. Today we've got Chapter Master Valrak, who is just a fanboy of Warhammer 40k, who has a whopping 121,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he does videos on and live streams on just about everything you can think of to do with Warhammer. And so we're going to introduce him now. And here we go. Valrak, how you doing? Not too bad. So it's 7 o'clock in the morning over there, and I've woken you up to come and do this stream.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we've got you actually on audio. I did it again.
Oh, all right. Is this me?
Yeah, it's just your mouth moving. So here we have Chapter Master Valrak. He's currently in the UK. At 7 a.m, I've dragged him out of bed for this last panel of the day, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about Warhammer. So, I mean, one of my first questions to you is, why Warhammer?
Oh,
Why did you pick Warhammer? I mean, you know, how did you pick Warhammer? Tell me the story. Where did it begin?
It began. It began when I was about 11, and I didn't really know what Warhammer was, actually, because I was really into building models as a kid. Like, I don't know if you ever got, like, Spitfires or, like, Lancaster bombers and built them as a kid and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I was really into, you know, that World War II kind of model building. And an uncle of mine bought me, like, a box set of orcs. I didn't know they were orcs at the time. I just thought they were, like, monsters and stuff. So I assembled them and everything like that. And then my friend came around to my house one day and he was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's called Games Workshop," because that's what, you know, it had on it. I didn't know, like, what they were. And he told his mum to go to the Games Workshop and go and get some for him. So she came back and she got him Space Marines. So when I went around to his house, I was like, "Oh my God, they come in human form." So then I got my mum to take me to Games Workshop in town. And then, yeah, it just went on from there. Then it's like, okay, I'm in this now for the long ride. And
all right, I got to ask, what happened to the
Space
orcs?
Marines.
What happened to the orcs?
They probably ended up in the bin.
Oh no.
It's the Xenos.
So I've noticed a massive amount of yellow in the background there. Tell me the story. What's with the yellow?
So all this here, well, those at the bottom are called Custodes. So they're like the Emperor of Mankind, for those of you who know who he is. He's like the main figure in the Imperium. Those are like his personal bodyguard. And then this here is my, well, I call it an Imperial Fist armor because there's chapters of Space Marines and mine's Imperial Fist, but I'm building something called the Last Wall. And it's like where all like the sons of this certain gene lineage come together to defend the planet of like humanity. So that's what I'm currently building at the moment. That's like taking me like 3-4 years, just all that so far, but it's been worth it.
Damn,
yeah,
that's impressive. And those models are not cheap. I mean, they have an exorbitant price tag on them, and they come unpainted.
Unpainted, unassembled. You have to do everything. There's mold lines on them. The amount of hours I've just spent here removing mold lines, it's like, oh, no. But yeah, It's especially so like in Australia and stuff because the import prices on them, like they're insane when it comes to the prices. Like in the UK, I say we're lucky to have it so low. They are still a bit expensive, but everywhere else in the world, they're like sometimes double, triple the price of what I'm paying for them. So yeah, it's mad. Yeah.
So, okay, you mentioned Imperial Fists. So, how many chapters? Like, and I suppose it's broken down into chapters. There's a massive storyline behind Warhammer. There's, there's lore, there's books, there's, and I guess
so much. Yeah.
To me, it's just it's a tabletop game. It's a bunch of little miniatures that you have a bunch of dice and some terrain if you've got terrain. If it's not, it's cardboard boxes and things in the way. And a couple of tape measures, and off you go. Now, walk me through how would somebody learn how to play this game?
Well, pre-pandemic, let's say, like I feel like one of the best ways to do, if you just walked into a Warhammer store, like their staff are trained to train you how to give you like a little induction game and stuff like that. So you could always have that option. What I tend to do though is that if anyone wants to learn it and they live near me, or they go to a place called Warhammer World, which is kind of like the capital for us Warhammer players. It's located in Nottingham, and we all just go there and play. It's like a huge gaming hall. I just meet them there and I just learn them how to play it because it is simple. Like there's editions, like we have like different editions of like all other games and stuff like that. And the later editions have got less and less complicated over the time. Well, I personally feel like that anyway. And I think it's more easy to actually pick up and just roll dice because they've made it a lot more friendly for new players to actually get into it. But once you learn the basics of it, it's just I think it's plain sailing really. Of course there's different levels because in every kind of tabletop scene, there's a competitive level. So you'll always have people who go to the next stage who, like, when they build their armies, they'll build it with, okay, if I have this gun, then I'll affect this gun, then I'll affect this gun and this gun. I don't do that. I like that model. It looks nice. I'll put that in my armor. That's it. I don't care how it performs or anything.
Yeah, because I think it's done on a point base or something, isn't it?
Yeah, points. Yeah. Point
values.
You have like Yeah,
it's confusing. It's I've looked through some of the rule books, and it is seriously confusing.
I think if you look at it for the first time, it's a lot to take in. But if you just if like the way I tend to do it is like I break it down to people like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do the movement phase, and like just teach them the movement phase a lot, and then okay, the shooting phase, and then like the combat phase and stuff like that. So I think if you sit down and look at it as a whole, it really is confusing. But if you just break it down, it gets really, really easy. It's just one of the things.
And there's a psychic phase, and there's another phase, and it takes days to play this game.
There's a command phase now. Yeah, there is a new phase. Yeah.
So another new phase to get used to. So I see you got a helmet back there.
Yeah. This guy made it for me. I don't know if you know him or anything. He's got this massive piece of Terminator armor, but yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. He made it for me as a gift, which is nice of him.
I thought you'd be wearing it on the stream, actually.
I can't. Like the thing is like I put my glass lenses in there, but my eyes have like gone bad since then because these are like a really old pair of like glasses like back in the day. That's why I like broke them down. And if I put it on, it's just blur because they're like glasses from like 8 years ago.
Oh, you got a Space Marine helmet on. You don't need to see.
Walk into walls and just go through them. Boom.
So okay, well now let's move on to the books. So Games Workshop has a wonderful place called the Black Library. I don't know if it's a place or if it's a virtual environment, some mystical thing in the ether. But there are hundreds of books, I believe, in the Black Library.
Oh, so much. Well, it's called the Black Library because it's named after a place in the lore called the Black Library, which holds a lot of knowledge inside of it, which is a secret place where only Eldar know. Damn Xenos. But yeah, it's one of the greatest things I think about 40k is the stories attached with it, and that's why I think that's why one of the main reasons I'm attracted to it, because there's so many stories. It's not just we're Space Marines, we're here to kill everyone. There's like different levels of Space Marine stories. There's Imperial Guard stories. You know, there's all the alien stories. It's an IP universe, and I think that's why it's getting a lot more popular now. Because there is so many stories out there and people are getting interested in those stories.
Yeah, I noticed they're doing a lot of fan films now, so both animated and live action.
On YouTube now, like the Guardsman film and stuff.
Which we'll play shortly. Plug.
It's plug. Yep. I think it's getting to a level now where there's so many people are just out there bringing it to life in their own way. And I think GW has seen this in a way, and I think that's why they've made their Storyforge studio, because that's what they've come up with now, is that they've made a new studio called Storyforge, and they're doing their own like animations and
I think it's called Angels of Death, isn't it?
There's one called Angels of Death. There's like a noir kind of crime one, like he's investigating stuff. There's going to be 2D ones. There's just so much now that they're actually putting into it, because I think that's the next level for them to go to, because from a business standpoint, they've absolutely smashed the miniature market. Like they're probably one of the biggest miniature companies in the world. I know, like from their stock prices, they're like one of the biggest companies in the UK now. Like they're taking on like stuff called like British Gas and stuff, which I thought was like, okay, this is like really next level. So they've actually bypassed them. So I think the next logical step for them to do would be to get into film and movies and that stuff. And now I always thought that maybe it would be like a Netflix kind of deal, but it seems like they want to do it their own way, because they are very protected over their IP. So maybe I think Storyforge will evolve into maybe like a premium service. I think like where you have Netflix and stuff like that. I think they may do that with their own, but I think they'll need a big backlog of content.
We just had somebody in chat say that the noir one is called Interrogator.
That's the one, yeah, Interrogator. Yeah, he follows like an Inquisition's. I forgot what his title is now, but he's like his master is killed, so he's like investigating like who did it and stuff like that. But yeah, they look good. They look decent. Like and I know there's a couple of people out there that complain because there's this series. I think you've seen it called Stars, which some guy made. From
it's incredible.
New Zealand. Yeah, it like I always say to people, it's not the best 40K fan film I've seen. It's the best fan film I've ever seen. Like compare it to like everything, like from like stuff, because I'm a really big Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan and stuff. And some of the people who make their their fan stuff are incredible. And this is like film quality. Like this is what I expect. It's next level. Like the studio,
yeah. The animation is just to die for, and this. The storyline, the sound effects, the background music, everything. I mean, it doesn't come across as a fan made at all.
Yeah.
So no, I guess that's where fan made films have really stepped up over the last few years. And I mean, I was just privileged to be a part of Guardsman and asked to do it, even though I'd only just made that suit 6 months earlier. That was my first cosplay, but. It's just, for how we did that, and then there was more and more and more coming out from there on out. I mean, Astartes was only, I think it came out just before, just after. And then everything keeps rolling out. There's so many more fan films out there now, just like the Star Wars franchise and everything else. So, people are just getting bigger and bigger and more involved.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, shall we have a quick look at Guardsman so everyone can see what we're actually talking about?
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do, isn't it? Play Guardsman.
All right,
you're the star of the show. Yeah.
Guardsman Reigns, where in all the hells are you? I'm here, sir. Xena scum. Oh God, Emperor. Overseer, if it makes things all right. Whose power none can resist. Grant me the strength to defeat thy enemies. Grant me the will to defeat the beast. From your grace.
I shall know no fear. Take up your weapon, gods.
The Emperor protects.
Yes, he does.
That was awesome. Love it. Absolutely love that. That's amazing. Really, really cool.
So yeah,
Really
basically, I mean, fan films today have just exploded into, full-on cinema quality, cinema grade stuff. I mean, and considering that film was done on a budget of about $7,000 US. Including flying me over to the States to film it and things like that. So putting that in the budget, I think that was the biggest part of the budget. But
yeah. Shipping all that gear and stuff, I bet.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Over
that's a story in its own.
I'm surprised it got there in one piece.
Yeah, it was 17 phone calls to the airlines to make sure that I could actually ship it as check-in luggage.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't want to let it go. But I had 2 1-meter cube boxes where it packed down into. And I took that as check-in luggage. So it was...
nice.
Yeah. So definitely an adventure. So anyway, let's get back to you.
It's all about me.
Let's talk about you. So this is a Warhammer panel. So we've We've gone over sort of, some of the little bits and pieces to do with Warhammer itself. Games Workshop is the company that produces Warhammer, as well as several other games, Age of Sigmar. I think that's about the extent of my knowledge.
They do. Well, they do Age of Sigmar, they do 40k, and then they do like Necromunda, which are like skirmish games as well, like board games and stuff like Aeronautica. They get into everything now. Board games. It's like the branding deals they have now. It's like Monopoly, 40k you can get. It's Risk.
Oh, I did
40K.
I did see Monopoly. Yeah.
It's really getting out there now. They've just launched over the past couple of months their own shop now, their own Warhammer merch shop, which everyone it made no sense they didn't have it because everyone else was making it, and now they've got their official shop and stuff, which is again I think is a big indication to see where they're going.
I think they're going to expand out exponentially, and it's going to be good to see what the franchise becomes. But I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more sort of feature-length films and things like that coming out in the Warhammer universe that would really, really, it would be amazing. And could you imagine the props in that?
Well, yeah.
And the costumes.
The potential live action thing we have now is Eisenhorn. And I don't know if you ever watched the show The Man in the High Castle.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was a very good show about an alternate reality about what if America and everyone lost the war, and the chap who produced that, should I say, sorry, is producing the new Eisenhorn live action. Now, for me, for those of you who if you don't know who Eisenhorn is, it's a story by Dan Abnett that follows an Inquisitor and his investigations into chaos, Xenos shenanigans and stuff like that. But it's probably one of the most grounded stories because it has so much emotion in it, and it's so it captures that 40k spirit straight away. And it started with one book, and it grew into multiple series now. So you have a trilogy of Eisenhorn. Then you follow it with a trilogy of something called Ravener, who was his apprentice and stuff. And it's fantastic. So I think if they do that right, I think that's going to bring a lot of attention to it. It could be one of these Game of Thrones, where no one knew what Game of Thrones was, and then you got it, and then it exploded in popularity. Now everyone knows what Game of Thrones is.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the Game of Thrones theories, and you get a good understanding of the storyline and everything like that. Now, it's a long series, but with a lot involved, and everybody seems to die at least once. But I suppose in the grim dark, in the Warhammer universe, everybody really dies.
Yeah, it's just I
don't think anyone lives longer except for the Emperor of mankind.
Yeah, that's the thing in 40k. It's there's no happy ending. It's eternal war. That's it. You will either live to see yourself fall to the dark powers or die in the Emperor's name fighting them. It's just one of those things. It's there's no happy endings.
Just like the guardsmen on Guardsmen.
Yeah.
I'll just pull out a knife and attack these aliens. I'm done.
That's it, yeah.
Either way, I'm going to die, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things. Die.
So we've got the minis, we've got the books, we've got the fan films, we've got the merch, but one of the things that we sort of haven't touched on is the video games. Now I know you play Space Marine.
Yeah, the games are they are getting there. I've always said there's a bit of a problem with the games because you've seen some pretty decent games of them. Don't get me wrong, some fantastic games, but I don't think they've taken it to the next level in games because the way it works, of course, is you have to buy a license from GW to produce the games, and you also have to get every single asset approved. Because I spoke to someone who made one of the games once. I went to a gaming event. I'm how does it actually work? And it's everything we do. If you go down a corridor, like everything in that corridor has to be approved by GW because they're very protected over the IP. They don't want like a Hello Kitty poster or anything like on the wall or something like that. So
well, I believe they actually
literally.
Yeah, they had the they put out an animated film years ago. What was that? What was that?
Yeah.
Horrifying.
That was called Ultramarines, which I very, very much dislike because it was about the Imperial Fist being wiped out, which I do not agree with one bit.
Close to the heart, I see.
Yeah. But they made that, and like on the surface, I love the voice acting in it. I love the music from it. I've always said this: no matter how awful a product could potentially be with 40K, they always manage to knock it out of the park with their soundtracks. It's always cool. But yeah, when it comes to the gaming, like you haven't seen like these big companies invest in it because they just don't want that hassle. So you've been seeing like a lot of indie companies, and sometimes they hit it out the park, and sometimes like they don't. But we are waiting for like that next big 40K game, and apparently it's going to be coming next year because there's a game called Dark Tide that's in production, and I don't know if you've heard of Vermintide before.
Yeah,
but it's a company that makes Vermintide.
Yeah. Haven't played it, but
it's that company Fat Shark who made Vermintide. They've taken it on now and trying to do a 40K version. So I'm really interested to see how that pans out and see what it's like. Should be good. Should be very good.
But I mean, it's just, I guess the game Space Marine is pretty rudimentary when it comes down to it in the 21st century compared to some of the games that are out there.
Yeah.
But we still keep falling back to it, and I think it's because of it's because of Warhammer. It's because of the lore, the camaraderie, every aspect about it, and folds in on that.
How brutal it is as well. Like the game's a very, very brutal game.
It is. I mean,
it captures the IP. Yeah.
Ripping somebody to death with a chainsaw. It's
beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You should try it. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And do you know what? I was very shocked to learn how many people actually get into it through the computer games, because again, there's another game called Dawn of War, and when that came out, like the original Dawn of Wars, there was like an influx of people. Well, obviously, you didn't know at the time because but the amount of people I've talked to since then, and like, how'd you get into it? Like you asked me before, and they were, oh yeah, the game called Dawn of War, and I was like, wow, there's so many people that got into it. So I think if they do make the games good and they can get to that audience, it will bring, again, like we just said, so many people into it. So I think that's another good avenue for them to go down and invest into. And
yeah, I think the next springboard, as we spoke before, is definitely going to be the fan films or the films, be they animated or be they live action. I think live action is very difficult to do at the moment because of all this stuff going on, but and being locked down. But once they get over that, once they move past that, I think we'll just we'll see some amazing things coming out, and I'm hoping that GW will actually not just make it themselves, but even enlist the help of others to come in and help them to exploit the IP properly and put out some really good stuff.
I definitely think if they do like a full movie, because at the moment we're seeing like series and like shorts.
Yeah,
it's definitely going to be done by themselves, because this is what this whole story forge is for now. Like that is they have writers a part of that team, and a crew to design whatever they're doing. So I definitely think, it's going to be done in-house because they've got the money for it, because they're making incredible amounts of profit. Like I think that this past financial quarter, I think they were 45 million plus in profit, which is, is some big moolah. And
well, during lockdown, what else are you going to do but paint minis?
That's the thing. During lockdown, it was one of the. I say that I don't know this. It's probably one of the biggest things, because everyone was just inside, just painting or just doing things. Yeah.
So, okay, now I've got to ask you. Getting back to the books, so the Black Library books, I've looked at trying to start reading them, just to get an idea, because, I mean, you know me, I build costumes. So I don't really know the lore. I barely know my own chapter. But I thought I've got to try and get into this and start understanding a bit more of the storyline behind 40K. and I don't even know which book to start with.
It's
And here is the rub. Right there is the rub, because this is the same thing I get from everybody. It's like
do you know what it's like? It's like Star Wars. There's so many books connected to it. Like when I look at Star Wars, like where do I start? You know, and well, most of that's been slung out now because of the new law, but that's not this panel. But it, like, I always say to people, like, my honest thing to say is, like, start reading the rule book, not as the rules, read the law in the rule book, because what the rule book does fantastically, it gives you the premise of what's going on in the galaxy. Like, you know, if the galaxy has been split into twain and stuff like that, because that's what it has been doing. So it explains what's been going on in the latest law. And then it has little sections for each race or each faction. And it only gives you like a little introduction, like what's going on with them, who they are. And then I always say then, just go from there. Just like, if I say to you, like, oh, you want to learn about Space Marines? There is literally thousands and thousands of books on Space Marines. There's different eras on Space Marines, as we were talking before. There's like the Horus Heresy, which takes place 10,000 years before the current events that are happening now and everything, which is you know, it's about Primarchs and everything, and what Primarchs are. They're like the gene farmers of the Space Marine legions, and they're the Emperor's official sons. But yeah, that's like 10,000. Then you've got like this new law now, which is just recently happened because there's a thing called the Great Rift, which is split like the galaxy in half. So it's kind of like the West and the Eastern Roman Empire kind of thing now. You know, it's like split in half kind of thing. And they brought out a brand new book series with that now called Dawn of Fire. So that's what they're calling that series. It's kind of like the Horus Heresy Mark II, I think they were advertising it as, but set in the current timeline. And book one has just come out of that, which was a good book. I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, there's just so many. Like, some people say, how do I get into it? It's like, well, first thing, what race do you want to read about? Do you want to read about Necrons, Eldar, Imperial Guard, Space Marines, Custodes, you know, Orcs? That's a
lot. I mean,
there's just so much. There's so much. Yeah, there's so much. Like, I'm like, where I am now, I've been doing it for like since I was 11, and I'm 30 plus now. So I'm still learning new stuff every day. So that just goes to show like how much there is like in it. It's massive. It's absolutely huge, and I like it that way because you know, you're always learning, which is nice. Now
you've got, I mean, on your YouTube channel it's just, you know, video after video after video that you've done on, you know, everything ranging from you know, new models coming out, new lore, new books, anything that's going down. I mean, it's like you've got a library of your own, a video library of your own sitting there that like, you've done. I mean, you know, how many times do you broadcast, like, each week?
Well, since like lockdown and stuff now, I've been trying to stream daily because it's like people get entertainment out of it, because this is what we do. We just sit here and we talk 40K. But it also keeps me sane as well, because I'm just stuck in the house. So it also lets me speak to other people. But I try to like release daily videos and stuff like that, just to keep me sane, and just to talk about stuff, because like the content I do on my channel, it's like nothing fancy. It's not like, you know, like amazing animations or anything. It's like, I've always described it as if you were sitting across from your friend and you just talking about topics. That's the kind of content it is, where I just talk about like the topics as a friendly conversation and what I like about it, what I dislike, and yeah, you know, that kind of stuff.
Well, 121,000 subscribers says that there's a few out there that kind of like what you say.
Yeah, it seems so. Yeah, I don't know how I got there, but yeah, I'll take it, definitely.
So, have you got plans on expanding out that that sort of 40K, I suppose, chat that you do? I mean, are you looking at evolving it into something more formal down the track?
If I had if I would like to do something with my channel, I would like to like when I say do animations, I don't mean like Astartes level animations. I would like to get into showing off stories a bit more in that animation type of sense. There's something that like I do have planned, and I am speaking to someone, and it's trying to animate like famous battles. Do you know, like when you see like these historical documentaries of like this column went over here and it shows it off and stuff like that? I'm trying to do that like in a 40K sense with like famous space battles and stuff, like, because I'm really interested in that kind of stuff, because of course they're epic battles, but I love reading about the tactics and stuff like the authors came up with and how they want it all. If I can visually show that off, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I just got Spookstar is asking if did I read the Manius
Calgar. Yeah,
comic.
the Chapter Master of the Ultramarines. He is. I read it. Yeah, because again, that's another huge thing. GW teamed up with Marvel, so yeah, again, another heavy hitter, and they've just made this comic called Manius Calgar, which I think it's it's going to be a 5-part series. Only 2 of them are out at the moment. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Well, sorry, I know 2 of them are out because I read the first 2, but I don't know if it's going to be a 5-part series. And yeah, it's following him, and like it's gave us like a look at his childhood before he became a Space Marine, and it's very, very interesting. I can't really talk about that much because there's a huge spoiler in there, which people will probably want to read themselves. But yeah, it's great. I'm enjoying it. Again, it's just these little bits of information which just pass the time and just get you excited for more stuff. I love it.
So talk to me about Space Marines. Space
Marines.
Talk to me about Space Marines. Tell me about Space Marines.
A Space Marine. What can I say about Space Marine? Well, a Space Marine is a gene-enhanced super soldier. Like, they may look human, but they're not human anymore. Like, they started out as humans. Like, you get initiated when you're a young child. So you start your training at like 10, 11. And it more or less has like a 99.9% fail rating. Like, they just don't make it, these kids. Some get lobotomized into serfs. Yes, this is 40K. And
some ends up like this guy here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's a failed serf right there. And like others like just become like chapter serfs, where they have to like, look after the chapter's monastery and stuff like that. But once you pass that, you basically have one goal. Then is to kill and die for the Emperor. That's it. That's all you live for. It's just to die in his name and kill as many people as you can before you're taken out, basically.
So there's also there's all sorts of trials I heard that you have to go through, and I mean it's so realistic how people put it across. And some people get quite passionate about, how you become a Space Marine. And I guess I got that from tromping around in a Space Marine suit. And it's like, have you gone through the trials, brother? And I'm like, no.
Yes.
Now I can say, yes, I could definitely say after much blood, sweat, and tears, yes, I have.
Yeah. It's like different chapters have different approaches on everything like that. There's a chapter called the Blood Angels, and you have to be into they teach you art and stuff because they're very arty. Like when they come to decorate their armor, it's there's so many things attached to it, which I love. Like everyone's different. Like even though you have these Space Marines, you have the different chapters, and it's like football teams, but in like an extreme way where everyone is different in the core, even though they're this base unit. Like you have like the Space Wolves, which are like more they're like Space Vikings and stuff like that. You have like the Imperial Fists, who they're all craftsmanship. Yeah, they're yellow. We have to be yellow, so it gives the enemy a fair bit of warning because we're that good. So yeah, and but they're like masters at like building and like siegecraft and stuff like that.
You've got Angels of Vengeance.
Angels of Vengeance, who come from the Dark Angels, who. Yeah, most of their gene stock are traitors, so congratulations on that.
We are not traitors. We're just unforgiven. So yeah, I mean, they come up with the most amazing terms to describe storylines and bits and pieces. I mean, when I started doing the background into the character that I have, I mean, he's a nobody. He's just a space marine from the Angels of Vengeance, and I chose that not because I liked the lore, or I checked out the chapters, or understood 40k. I literally scrolled down a big list on the internet of different color schemes until I found one that I liked.
I'll tell you now. I think the majority of people pick it well, it's called the rule of cool, like it's just one of those things. Oh, that looks nice. Let me read about them a little bit more. And that's all it takes to get sucked into it. It's like, that looks like, that red looks really cool. That gold looks really cool. Who are these guys? And that's it. You're addicted to that chapter now, just because the way they look, and then you start to love like how they do things on the battlefield and how they interact with other chapters and stuff. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
And I guess that's a brilliant way for somebody to just go, well, if I like the color, I'll get in there. It's kind of like you with the orcs. It's like, oh, they come in human form. I'll take that. And then I'll paint them yellow. So and so it's that simplicity, I guess, that a lot of people are missing out on when they get flooded over with the lore and the rules and the 47,000 dice that you need to play the game. And it just it just becomes uncontrollable. But getting back to that simplicity of pick a color, kind of works. It works for me.
Yeah, it works for GW as well, because you have to go and buy the colours then if you want to go paint them from GW.
But there are other paint companies out there, but they do.
Yeah,
push
there
their
is.
own.
Oh yeah, it's such a massive thing now. The hobby really, really is. It's massive. Like I can compare it to like when I was a teenager and stuff like that. Like no one knew who Games Workshop was, and now I bet if you go somewhere and just say Games Workshop, like, oh yeah, I know what it is. Who was I speaking to the other day? I was speaking to a chap, and I was explaining to him like what I do and stuff. And I was like, yeah, there's these little models. He goes, oh yeah, I've seen that shop before. Like he says, I've never played it, but I always walk past it, and I always stop and I just look in the shop window, and I was like, that's all they want. That's all it takes. They have you then. As soon as you go through that door, you're theirs. But yeah, it's just one of the things now. Like they're all over the high streets, they're everywhere, and I think it's good because more people get into it. That means more people I can potentially fight on the tabletop, which is good. I like it.
Now you also use another. Well, when you're not able to fight person to person, you've got it set up on your computer, don't you? On what is that program that you're using? It's
called Tabletop Simulator. Now, this is not officially from GW. I don't think they like this, to be fair. But, it has helped during this, global pandemic when people just can't get out and fight. So, yeah, like I said, there's a game called Tabletop Simulator, and it's not made for Games Workshop at all or Games Workshop stuff. It's just a digital gaming company. Like, you can play chess on it, anything like that, snakes and ladders if you want. And it's highly moddable. So, of course, if there's one thing the 40k community does well is that they will make their own content if there's no content there for you. And they just modded literally the game into that game, and you can just sit there now and play. I actually think it's good because I always say to people, like, nothing ever beats standing across from someone throwing dice, because for me personally, 40k is a social experience. Like I love getting out and meeting my friends and throwing dice, and not just playing the game, but also just talking to people and like what we're doing now and stuff like that. But that platform is really, really good because it can help you potentially learn the game in your own comfort of your own house. And like you said, I don't know how to play it. I could potentially sit down and say, okay, this is this is that. This is how you do it. So when we actually do eventually meet up, you know the basics then.
And you can actually play a game, yeah.
And you can do stuff like test armies. The last thing you want to be doing is going out, spending a lot of money on an army, and then realize you don't like it. So that gives you an option then to play that army to see if it fits your play style. Because even though it may look amazing, maybe it's that that's not how you play. You play this kind of way. So this
Yeah,
anime
you
will
might be
fit
you
you
might
up.
be a bit more conservative. You might be a little bit more guerrilla style.
Yeah.
There could be, the variations are endless, and
Yeah.
but some people do spend an inordinate amount of money on their models, and
Like my collection, I say that is moderate, and I mean that in like the most nicest way possible. Like I've seen people who I struggle to think how much money they spent. Like I've seen people whose rooms where it's like this is basically like another house. You could invest with like all these models you've got, and it's like wow.
I mean, if you were to put a price tag on what you've got in the, how much you've spent.
Oof. Yeah, it's a lot. Like that there at the bottom, just the golden guys, is probably like £1,500 just there, and I don't even want to
that includes
imagine.
paint or doesn't include paint.
No, I think that's just for the base models.
Oh,
That's it.
all right,
Yeah.
that's expensive.
That's and the rest, yeah, I don't really want my girlfriend to listen to this back, so it cost £10.
It cost £10. That's all it cost was £10.
No, yeah, really, there's it. This is the thing. It's how much you invest, how much you want to invest in it, and how much you want to get out of it. At the end of the day, like I try to play with my armies as much as possible, and I enjoy sitting down and painting and doing it. So that's why I keep buying into it, because I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy painting these things and bringing them to life, and having lore with it and stuff like that, and showing them off on the battlefield, and like, going to tournaments and stuff. And yeah, it's cool. I love it.
I guess it's a hobby. It's some
it
people
is.
invest a lot more into hobbies. I mean, I invested a considerable amount into cosplay. It's just a thing. It's like it's what people do. So
that's all it is. It's like some people love cars, don't they? They spend so much money on cars and stuff,
Exactly.
and souping them all up. And what I like to do is paint little tanks. It's just this thing. That's what I like
it doesn't require any more maintenance after that. So Spooks just said that MWG Studios have at least hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of armies.
Oh yeah, MWG Studios is Mini Wargaming. They're one of the bigger YouTube channels, but it's a company. Like it's not just one guy. Like it's a brand, let's say. Like I think, well, I don't think. I know that like they have their own shop, and you can like hire gaming tables and come down and stuff. But they do like loads of battle reports and stuff and post on their channels. Yes, I won't be surprised if they have hundreds of thousands of dollars / pounds worth of models on their site. Yeah, it's for a lot of people, this is a business now. They're making.
And I suppose there's places out there where you can build and paint, and you don't have to go to a games shop to actually just
definitely
buy the models. You can actually go there and Millennium Comics is the sponsor for Inconceivable. There's a place you can go and get your models. You can go and find what you need, and the paint and the brushes and all the bits and pieces, and then probably even sit down in the store and amongst other people painting models and paint your models.
Yeah, that's where I go. That's why I tend not to go into the GW shops, because they're located, well, where I am in Manchester, it's located on the high street. So parking is very expensive, and just getting there, because you have to like go through like a shopping mall and stuff like that, where like there's gaming rooms near me where it's free parking. I can park right outside the door, walk in, and I'm done. They have bigger spaces because it's not on, it's not in the market street and stuff like that. So, and most of them have bars there and stuff as well in the shop. So it's like I can play Warhammer and drink all at the same time. This is good.
So if you've got one thing to say to anybody that wants to get into Warhammer, if it's just if you got an elevator pitch of somebody says, "Oh, I'm interested in Warhammer," what's that elevator pitch? What's that 30-second to a minute spiel that you hit them up with?
Oh, bloody hell. You put me on the spot. I'd say it is the greatest sci-fi universe, because there's so much going on. Like when you have these other IPs, it focuses on like a certain faction or character. You have literally hundreds of different characters. All of them are right in their own way. Like there is no good guy in 40k. Everyone is as bad as each other. So if you want to come in like I am the good guy, it's like no, you're not. We are the bad guys in a way, but we have to be the bad guys because if we were the good guys, then we wouldn't be here. So it's one of these sci-fi universes which is so rich in the lore. There's so many stories. There's stories for everyone. Like if you don't like Space Marines, then you might like this faction and that faction. And you've got like zombie robots. You've got like the Imperial Guard, like just basically baseline humans like us who just have a bayonet and charge people. You've got like these massive gorilla. Yeah, that's it. Like las gun. That's it. That's all you have. You've got the orcs, which are like these primal, just made for war, killing brutes and stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, and I love it. I just love it. There's just so much there. It's amazing, and it's just all you have to do is pick up a book. Just pick up one book, start reading, and I swear on the Emperor's Throne that you'll just be addicted to it. It's just so good. It's
and there's so much material for cosplay.
Yeah. I think 40k. Like I don't do cosplay, but if you are like into cosplay, there's just endless amounts of stuff. There's so much. Like I said, like for example, that cosplay you designed, that is Acadian. That is a regiment, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of different regiments. All have their different styles of uniform and stuff. So it's not just like, okay, I have to be like that. It's everything's different. It's like
it's practically endless. So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, Valrak, thank you so much. We're coming up on the hour now, and so I'm just going to wrap it up here. But thank you so much for being on with me and having a bit of a chat about Warhammer and all things that are lovely in Warhammer. And we'll see you again soon. So,
thanks,
do you have anything last you want to say to everybody just before we go?
Thanks for coming. If you don't play Space Marines, then you got to get purged because the Emperor protects. That's it.
I love it.
That's it.
So, all right, guys. Now, so we are at the end of the convention. Thank you so much for coming and checking out Inconceivable, proudly sponsored by Millennium Comics. I'll get it right. That's at millenniumcomics.com.au. Go and check it out. So if you want any miniatures, if you want any paint, any books, any gaming stuff, just any comics, go and check these guys out. So they've got an online store right here and in the virtual convention. So if you go to inconceivableevents.com.au/2020, that will take you directly to the convention, which is obviously it's a free convention. The vendor stores will be open for another week, so you've got plenty of stuff to go and buy, or plenty of time to go buy stuff. And don't forget your Inconceivable swag. So there's t-shirts, there's pins, there's bags, there's a whole range of different things. By all means, please just come along to the store, have a bit of a look-see, and it's just as easy as a click away. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for being with us at Inconceivable. We'll see you next time.
Inconceivable!